Hello, witchy people. It's time again for another letter from the YouTube Pagan Challenge 2018, and the letter I choose this evening is J. Another quite difficult one, I think, because there's not really a lot you can use for J. I was thinking of a few things, perhaps jasmine, because I do like jasmine, but just because I like jasmine doesn't mean to say that's important to me in any way. Jasper, I love jasper stones. I collect them, all sorts of, like star jasper and poppy jasper and green jasper, all sorts. Anyway, I thought no, and then I thought, well, how about like juju magic, and I thought no, because I don't really know much about that either, apart from what other people have told me. So that's not relevant to my path. And I thought, oh, hold on a minute, there is a J that's very relevant to your path. It's Jack. And I know what you're thinking, it's not that. Jack, it's a really old, I think it stems back from medieval times, and it came really common in the 16th and 17th centuries. And Jack, obviously it means so many different things, and I think I wrote down a whole list somewhere around in my really messy desk right now of things that contain the word or the name Jack. But Jack comes from the medieval times, and it comes from family of John. Now, and I'll explain that quickly. John, obviously, that's the J. Family of John. Family, another word for family is kin. So kin of John, John kin, which became Johnkin, which then kind of got changed to Jankin, and that got shortened to Jank and became Jack, and that's where the name, as far as a lot of people know, that's where Jack come from. And it came to me like Jack, meaning family of John, it came to represent just the word man or boy. Jack-o'-lanterns, for instance, is one. Jack-o'-lanterns, some people say that's Irish, and it comes from Stingy Jack. There's an old folk tale about Stingy Jack. There's another Jack. Jack-o'-lanterns, or bog lights, will-o'-the-wisp. They were man with a lantern, man with a light. That's where it comes from. So that's where jack-o'-lantern comes from. Of course, you have things like jackknife. Jackknife, I think, comes from a really old phrase which meant jackleg carpenter, and a jackleg carpenter was a carpenter who had a really set of basic tools. Basically, he was not a very good carpenter, so it became quite, the word jackleg became quite derogatory in some ways. And that jackleg carpenter had a jackknife, and that's where jackknife come from, because it's one of those ones that opens up, and when things jackknife, they stop being straight and close up. So jackleg, jackknife. What else? Obviously, if you play cards, you have the jack, which is the knave, another name for man. As children, maybe you had a jack in the box. So the word jack, it's really embedded itself in the language to mean, obviously it means a lot more different things these times, like he did jack, he did nothing. You can be a jack of all trades, a man of all trades. So it's really interesting. Hijack is another one. I'm trying to think, my list has got to be around here somewhere. I did write a list of jack things. Oh, found it. I see it. Okay, Jack. Jack-o'-lantern I've done. Spring-heeled Jack. Now, some people call the devil Spring-heeled Jack. Spring-heeled Jack was the name given to a murderer as well. Jack the Ripper, obviously. Absolutely, totally fascinated by Jack the Ripper, because I love a good mystery. Jack the Giant Killer, Jack in the Beanstalk, Jack in the Box, Jackknife, Jackfruit, Cracker Jacks, Jackass, Jack Stones, which has been shortened now just to the game of jacks, where you throw a stone up in the air and then you try to pick up other stones and then catch the stone on the back of your hand, that sort of thing. Lazy Jack, Stingy Jack, I think I did, that was the Irish one. So yeah, lots. Jack tar, which was another name for a sailor. Of course, you use a jack to raise cars and stuff like. Jack coat. Jack coat was just a name for a big heavy man's coat. And of course there is also Jack in the Green. Now Jack in the Green is another name for the Green Man. Jack in the Green was, it referred to this huge, tall, foliage covered figure, and it's kind of made a revival since the late 70s, especially around London, Essex and Cheshire, those sort of areas, though there are a few other areas that seem to have kept up this May Day celebration of Jack in the Green. And he is an incredibly tall figure, usually about 9 foot tall, and covered in foliage, so quite often they have him as a walking talking tree sort of thing. And but it's also referred to the garlands that you make for May Day. So there you go, that's another Jack in the Green. And my absolute favourite Jack, anyone who knows anything about me will know that I absolutely adore ravens, any bird from the corvid family. And the smallest bird from the corvid family is the jackdaw. And jackdaws, there's jackdaws, rooks, crows, carrion crows, ravens. If I missed anything out, I can't remember. But jackdaws are the smallest, and they're quite unusual. They're different from the other corvids because they have the most amazing bright light coloured eyes. I think they're very blue-grey, like a deep blue almost, when they're very, very small, when they're hatchlings and when they're very young birds. And as they get older, because their plumage obviously is so dark, their eyes look so pale and almost, they really stand out against the dark of the coat. They look almost human-like, and they have this grey silver sort of featherage and plumage to their back of their neck. And jackdaws are incredibly clever. When I first moved out of home as a late teen and had my own place to live, I actually made friends with a woman who had a jackdaw as a pet, and this jackdaw went everywhere with her. He used to sit on her shoulder. We used to go shopping, you know, and this jackdaw, it was so clever, it learnt words and everything. And, you know, it was absolutely lovely. And I think that's maybe where my deeper fascination of corvids come from. But there we go. That's just a quick synopsis, if you like, of Jack and jackdaws. I also think there was something to do with jackdaws and rooks and Bran, the Welsh Bran, who was, because the corvid family, jackdaws, rooks, ravens, all those, they are known as, okay, it's supposed to be quite unlucky in a lot of cultures and a lot of things. They say, oh, I think in the north of England, if you were a miner and you saw a crow as you walked down to the pit, a single crow, it meant that someone in the pit crew was going to die in the mines. So there was quite a lot of, they call it a murder of crows, which is pretty awful, really. But for some people, they're really clever. I think the Welsh especially, jackdaws, it's very lucky. You don't see jackdaws so much anymore. They're getting quite rare. You used to see them a lot, especially at dusk, sort of like coming over your garden. Now they tend not to land. They just sort of like fly over your garden. If you're lucky, you might see some. They're very, oops, leaving my camera, sorry. They're very family orientated. They like rooks, they like to stay in a rookery, and jackdaws actually do nest very close to rooks, and they eat anything. If they can't get the odd little mouse or anything, they'll eat fruit and all sorts. I think the whole corvid family are very clever, but jackdaws, they are really, really clever. They're very intelligent. They pick up things so easily. And this jackdaw that my friend had, sadly she's passed away now, and so is the bird. He used to imitate a phone ringing, the old phones. It was fantastic. They were really clever, and he used to do tricks to get tricks for treats. But yeah, the Welsh Bran, very intelligent, known as a knowledge keeper. And like I said, this is not something I'm an expert in because I don't know much about Welsh mythology, so I may have to be corrected if I'm wrong. But when he died, he gave his head to the White Plains of London, or the White Tower of London. And when they put his head there, the rooks went with him because the rooks were the knowledge keepers, and that has some connection to, and it's supposed to be near the Tower of London, which is where the connection comes from. If the rooks leave the tower, the crown will fall. So it's all connected in that way. But there you go. Jackdaws and the letter J, and Jack is my choice for the Pagan YouTube Pagan Challenge 2018. I've been rambling again, haven't I? But there you go. So, and that's kind of like more closer to the way I live my pagan pathway, because being a hedge witch, I'm very much into folklore and superstition and such like. So that's my choice for letter J, is Jack. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now, witchy people.